Alright, we're live. Hello.
Hi everyone.
Hi.
I'll do the intro again. Welcome to the theory crafting roundtable. It's been a hot second since we've done one, but I assure you that we're all still alive. Today I am joined by Tenten. Say hi.
Hi.
XF30. Okay, you gotta say hi, bro.
It's
No,
whatever.
Azel might join. Azel might join. That's why I'm laughing.
And Zaja.
Oh, really?
Hi,
Okay.
that's me.
Okay, this is episode 11 of the theory crafting roundtable, if I'm not mistaken, and we'll just get right to it. Yeah, it's been a while. How are you guys doing?
Lost Ark Spogger.
I'm dying. I'm literally dying. I don't know.
Is everyone addicted to Lost Ark? Are you? Is that it?
No,
No, just me.
I realized that MMOs and,
Live?
life don't really mix well together.
What is going?
Oh, and
Azel is here.
now Aegis.
Yeah, I'm joining on my AirPods, so the audio quality is like probably pretty terrible.
No, it's actually pretty good.
It's good, okay.
Yeah. Alright.
Okay, and we're also joined by Azel. So we do have a topic list somewhere, but I don't think anyone actually
It's just
typed it
a
up.
list of release.
I have it in my head. Don't worry.
Oh, yeah, just
Okay, well-
just the recent characters. So
Yeah, Azel, go ahead and start us off then with the first topic since you've got it all in your head.
Yeah. Okay. First thing that we want to talk about was just Yai. Full list, just like as a preview, is Yai. XF wanted to talk about releasing characters without specialized artifact sets and then releasing the artifact sets for them later, which they have a tendency to do given the 4-piece Vermillion set, which was just announced a couple days ago, and like Clam from Kokomi, and Yai, who currently doesn't have a specialized artifact set but might be getting one later. We still don't know. And other than that, we also wanted to talk about what did we want to talk about? I forgot. I do not have it all in my head, apparently.
Raiden, Kokomi, and Venti.
Well, every
We
character
can do
banner.
that.
Yeah, every character.
Every character banner.
Mm-hmm. Every single thing that's happened since last time.
Yeah, it's been a while
wow.
since I don't know,
It's-
everyone's been busy.
We have
Yeah.
what, like 4 banners to talk about? Oh no, like 5.
I mean,
Some-
all of them are over, so it's not like we can tell people to pull or not.
well, you can still pull Raiden and Kokomi, but
Yeah, that's
there's
true.
Venti coming up. There's Ayaka coming
Yeah,
up.
well, we can't put Yai
Mhm.
anymore, but we'll go through it anyway, just in case people are interested. So we can start with Yai.
Oh, anyone got any hot takes on Yai?
She's
so
everyone's,
so underwhelming, and it's not even with the stupid triple E thing. It's the fact that you have to respawn them after you do first for absolutely zero reason, and then she is locked to basically like Raiden because she has a 90 cost burst and a 22-second cooldown thing. Like, why is it 22 second?
Okay, hang on. Before we get too hot and heated in here, we don't really want another Eula moment.
No, Yai.
I am Yai head of
No,
TC.
here's it. Yeah, I want to make a call that XF3 is a TC head of TC for Yai, and he actually owned I think C3 Yai saw as her weapon.
I C3 R1, and yes, constellations feel good when things get one shot, but when you're not one shotting things with the bolts, it's kind of whatever. It's like because the main thing is like she just does damage, but she provides zero utility outside of that. And it's like,
TDDS.
do you want that? No,
Oh,
not really.
yeah.
Most people don't care about it.
Yeah.
Okay, so well, I mean, we've got XF3's thoughts. I mean, we can just go through one by one. If anyone wants to take it off from there.
Yai sucks.
Yai sucks.
That's my thoughts.
Okay.
Same.
I'm kidding.
Oh my god, it's so.
I honestly no comment. Like, oh god.
Yeah, I mean,
Have
like
you guys played her
most
much at all?
people address this shit.
Okay, I also want to preface that like you should not be listening to me because my extent of playing Yai is logging into XF's account yesterday and trying her out in Abyss. and she felt okay, but that's also because XF has C3R1, so I don't know how representative my experience is. So that's all I'll say.
Dajib, do you have any thoughts on Yai? Were you
I think
consumed by Lost Ark then?
no. I think she's very balanced, which is why people find her underwhelming. Well,
Yeah.
she's balanced and clunky, which is why people find her underwhelming. Like people don't want a balanced unit; they want a broken unit. So if a
Yeah.
unit isn't broken, they're like, "Oh, well, this is shit." But then on top of that, some of Yai's gameplay issues make her feel slightly like not comfortable to play, and the mix of those two things just makes it's the perfect storm of making casual players mold, basically.
It's like she's also the fan favorite character, and when the fan favorite character is
Yeah.
kind of mid, it's like really bad.
Mhm.
But
I don't
I
know.
think she's very well balanced.
Yeah, design wise, she's balanced, but
Design wise.
the
Gameplay
like,
wise, oh god.
gameplay wise,
Yeah, she's hot, so
execution
she has
wise,
to be
it's
bad,
like
right?
just like like on
Yeah, it's
paper,
just-
it's a good idea from what they did, but in execution, it's a bit kind of strange. Why doesn't her E like move fast? Why doesn't it have
So,
iframes?
is there any particular reason you think she's balanced at? Or is it just she doesn't have damage for what she does, and that's
Yeah,
it, or-
I think her like not niche, but the role she fulfills within a team is very similar to Beto. High energy cost, low energy gen, so you basically need to play her with a battery. She has a few cons that Beto doesn't have, but a few pros that Beto also doesn't have. Like you don't need to be normal attacking or charge attacking. You could be doing other like long animations that don't require specific like attack combos. And your damage is less conditional on like whether or not the enemies are like in AoE.
Mhm.
But also like your ceiling is lower because of it, and
Sure.
I think
gotcha.
they struck a good balance with like her damage numbers in terms of like what she provides to a team.
Mhm.
No, I mean, in my personal experience, I playtested Yai maybe for like 30-ish hours in the Abyss or so. She just feels not very fun. I don't really know how to really describe it. The fact that you have to cast her E so many times and it doesn't do any damage, it doesn't do anything for you. Like it doesn't move particularly quickly. It doesn't move you particularly far. It doesn't do any damage when you like try to dash through things. So it just feels so out of your hands, I would say, when it comes to what she's
You're
doing.
basically watching a movie, but you don't have iframes during the movie.
Yeah,
something like Zhongli Burst. Or...
There is absolutely no reason why her Yi should work the way it worked now. It actually doesn't do anything.
When they release like two characters that have dashes, they do damage on impact and they're fast as fuck, and then they release this and you have to do it 3 times. It's like okay.
I think as a character design, she's like really pretty. She's really cool. I like her autos a lot. Her theming is pretty cool. It's kind of like the opposite of Raiden in a way, but I feel like they kind of missed the mark when it came to her like passives and stuff like that. I think a lot of her issues probably could have been fixed if they just made like 1 or 2 mechanical changes with her. Like I think her EM scaling is just like, haha, you know, like the quirky thing that they like to add on characters nowadays. But,
I disagree.
I don't really like it too much.
I like the EM scaling.
I think it's whatever.
It's like yeah, it is kind of whatever, but I can kind of see why it's there. It's basically there to make some of your like bad rolls slightly less bad, to basically reduce the variance in in people's best artifact sets.
Yep, I agree with Sajab there. The EM there,
Yeah.
it's just like it's nice to have. It's just like between not having it and having it, I would prefer to have it because it's just like it make your EM not completely useless. So it's not a death stat. Because
I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
I'm not saying like like in an alternate universe, I wouldn't have that just wouldn't have a passive in that slot.
Yeah.
I think something different would have been preferable. I just don't think it very we can say it converts into like damage, extra stats is like no one's gonna really complain about that. I just feel there's something about Yai's kit that just feels strange to play. It doesn't flow as naturally, in my opinion, as something like Raiden's. And we can argue that Raiden's is like super overloaded or whatever, but like I think that Bennett's kit flows particularly well, also pretty broken. I think Luke's kit flows pretty well for what he is. Like, yeah, I mean, I think that's all I have to say, really.
I don't know. I think
it's a personal preference, I think. So.
Yeah, I guess. Like I don't see the passive as like an important part of her kit. Like
I think how I would phrase it is I wish she had a passive that was a little bit more important to her kit.
You wish the passive just like was more relevant?
Yeah, something like that. Instead of just
or
something like a Eula, the rhyme, whatever, the one where you hold E, it provides like the explosion, something like different.
I mean, think about it like this, right? So Raiden has like a ton of passives on her E and her Q. If you moved the EM passive onto
her E, just move it onto her E.
Just gave her another talent, like that's what I mean. I'm not saying like I don't want it or anything. But,
yeah.
I mean, I'd agree. I mean, it's just a personal preference thing. We could get deeper and deeper all day alongside of it, but I just something about the Ice Kit just feels like it was just squandered, I guess.
Yeah, because like I like the EM passive because I think that giving EM passives to Electro Unit to reduce variance is like a pretty neat thing, but like to reduce variance and strength between people's best like artifact sets, because you're basically getting another like flat attack, right?
No.
Like your EM becomes another flat attack, which is better than a defense roll, right?
No.
And so like I like the idea of giving that to some Electro characters to try to make people's artifacts not like it basically reduces artifact RNG a little bit.
Okay.
Because you have good rolls. And but yeah, like it's true that like it's not a particularly relevant passive, so it could have just been on the skill itself. It doesn't feel like a thing, right? It doesn't feel like it does much by itself, which generally isn't as nice as passives that do, even if they're not very good. If you can actually like tangibly feel the effect, it's really nice.
I do think that is one part of just like artifact farming and things that people kind of undervalue, just kind of as a tangent off of that. And this is like why we designed the KQM standards the way they are, where you have to have like a couple flat rolls into everything, because like Blizzard Strayer, for example, is much harder to farm than a set like let's say Husk of Opulent Dreams, where you can use it on Ito and like defense rolls are valuable. Because Blizzard Strayer, you only want attack and basically crit damage. Maybe sometimes you want a bit of crit rate, but generally it's just attack and crit damage. Whereas on something like, let's say, Crimson Witch, where you can use attack EM, HP if you're using it on Hu Tao, a bunch of different substats, and Husk of Opulent Dreams, where defense also is valuable, and attack, even though it's like less valuable than defense probably. I haven't actually looked at the math in so long. But I think that's just something that people tend to undervalue as well about artifact sets. When they look at them, it's just like, no, you can't only take into account the absolute strength of the artifact set. You also have to take into account how easy it is to get each artifact set. And like this is, of course, just a huge like tangent that we can go on of when we do calculations. Should we calculate like how much resin value it takes to get artifact set, or should we allocate substats or whatever? But that's probably too complicated to get into.
Yeah, I think that's also like one of the reasons why the emblem domain is so good. Is that
Mhm.
since it's good on so many characters, some characters want to have it and don't really want any ER more than what they're getting from the two piece. Some characters want it and want more ER, and some characters want EM with emblem.
Changling.
So
Mhm.
you basically just end up being
Okay,
okay with
Tenten.
every good stat, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Right.
I mean, you get an emblem set, you roll it, and then, like, okay, well, you just got like a bunch of random rolls on like a ton of different stats, but like, I'm sure at least
That's
one
good.
character can use it. You know?
I would put it out there. But that was one of the things I wanted to talk about in the future, and that is why Changling a better artifact than everyone else. It's for a similar reason. It's just because it's easier to roll. But on the topic of back to Yai, like I think, yeah, her giving her an EM conversion is kind of nice. So EM is not that stat. But the more I think about it, like they could have just put that part on her E instead of wasting a passive slot. Like, you know, what if they could have done it with like say new character, right? Like put like max HP as your elemental seal conversion instead of putting it in the talent. Like there's no reason why they can't do that. So it's kind of a waste of a passive slot for that.
I mean, I think all things considered, like, if I'm being generous, so I don't get flamed by like some Yaya mains or something, I think she's fine. Personally, I think you will be like pleasantly surprised just having it and playing Yaya because it's pretty comfortable. The rotations can be funky, the weapons can kind of suck sometimes, but all in all, I think she's not the worst unit to pull. So, and
Like she's not she's not great, but the reputation she gets in the community is like really bad, and I
Yeah,
don't think that's warranted.
yeah, I don't.
Oh,
I wouldn't go
yeah.
out of my way to really just discourage people from pulling her. Maybe just no.
I
About it.
relate her really similar to Albedo in terms of pull, like, or Albedo after his gear. It's like they'll do a lot of damage, and it's a lot of basically free damage because you can honestly, it's not too much quote unquote investment because yeah, I can use kind of any set, 2-piece combo set of anything. But it's like they will do their job and they'll do it pretty good. It's just, do you not necessarily need that like over a different unit? Like if all you're looking for is a character that does damage for you, it's fine, pull it. Even better if you have like Raiden or something. But with Albedo, it's even better if you have Ito or Goro.
Yeah,
Like,
I don't know if I
Ventus
like
as well.
that comparison because I kind of can't just be a unit you
You should-
slap on your team.
Yeah, that's the like annoying thing, but it's all right enough, I guess, because like, well, I don't know. I guess the better comparison is more like Ice can just exist anywhere. It's not great, but when you pair it with Raiden, it's pretty good. But
Mhm.
it's like, I guess I can compare it to most people with Beidou and Fischl. Like how Beidou and Fischl, they're like practically married for most teams. And for a lot of people there, because they're easier to battery that way. So I guess you can relate Yai and Raiden together in the same way where Yai really, really wants Raiden. And they're pretty good. They'll probably just 2-man everything for you.
She works with Fischl as well.
Yeah, but with Raiden, it's a
Yeah,
little
I
better
would
because
say,
you resolve and stuff.
I would say a lot of people
Eh.
compare her to like an upgraded Fischl. How true is that? How what do you guys think about that?
No,
No.
they do different.
No.
They do
I
different
think
things.
field time, yeah. The field time requirement for Yai makes it so that she specifically works/doesn't work in teams based on whether or not they have the rotation length or rotation like flexibility to account for her field time. And if they
Huh?
don't have that, then she's just not as good as some other unit there, whether that be like Fischl or whatever. But if you're doing something where you can account for or you can accommodate that field time, or like you might lose a bit by having Yai on field for like 6 seconds, but you gain more from her damage, then that's fine. So it's just team dependent. And just making a straight comparison kind of, I think, ignores that sort of nuance.
I think Beto's a better comparison.
Yeah.
Sure.
And
I
which
agree.
she's basically instead of being right, Beto is an AoE unit that's decent in single target but not great. Yai is a single target unit that's decent in AoE but not great.
That's
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
I actually don't think she's comparable with anything. I know Yai's an electro nuker. I don't think we have electro nukers. I guess we can kind of say Raiden
my
is.
Sara is an electro nuker.
My real problem of Yai is just like, A, you're semi-glued to another 5-star characters, B, you're not exactly meta, and C, you flow to play. And so when you combine all of this, I just don't like it. That's my main problem. That's
for maybe like newer players or like free to play players. What do you think about her? Like we say like field time and all this stuff, investment pairing her with another 5-star. Do you think she's like pretty friendly or not? I mean, given how easy she can be to play and how forgiving she can be with her stuff.
She's really easy to play, which is nice. Like she's really straightforward. Just make sure your E's are always up and you're fine.
Yeah.
You get everything you need from her. But I don't know.
I mean,
I personally,
So
if you
another way to phrase it would be like, okay, so if you had like a new player, right, and they had a couple of choices, right? Let's say in a given banner, it's like, you know, you could pull Yai, you could pull, you know, something like Kokomi, you could pull like, I don't know, like Ayaka, right? You'd probably wouldn't ever recommend Yai then.
No.
I would. There's like one situation if you're a low spender or like free to play player that like you would actually want to pull her, and it's that you're playing Raiden Hyper, but you don't like it how on like you just get fucked up over energy and you don't do any damage. That is the only time I would actually recommend her. Otherwise, you just pull her if you like her.
Uh-huh. And then how about for the Abyss then?
For
How do you think she's performing in the Abyss? Is she eating too many units up to buff herself? Is pairing her with Raiden good enough? What if you don't have Raiden? Stuff like that.
So
How are you feeling
what I've
on it?
run into personally, it's a little skewed because I have constellations on everyone and 5-star weapons, but in Abyss chambers where you have multiple floors that are not necessarily super tanky, I guess like for an example would be this 12-1 where you could basically one-shot the first wave like with the wolves. I would actually prefer Yai over Sara in like a Raiden hyper comp, just because you can kill things with Yai and then focus the next wave with Raiden. But with Sara, you're prone to just actually killing everything, and then you won't be in range to do as many normals to get energy, and then you might get even more mauled. Yeah, you could just reset and do something different, but it's not as, I guess, brain dead to play. Like you have to be pretty aware on your energy and when you're doing nuke stuff. While with Yai, it's more like you put turrets down, and even if you mess up with Yai with like the nukes, you still have the turrets just constantly taking damage.
Yeah, I'm not too sure how much playtime you guys have had on Yai, but I think
About 30 minutes.
I think she's fairly. I don't know how to really describe it. Like when you pair her like with and without Raiden, the team comps like I gradually just kind of like just went towards was just any kind of comp with like Kazuha and like a bunch of electro charge, because it just didn't didn't feel very good to play anything else.
Yeah,
And
I think her main like her best comp, not in terms of like DPS, because her best comp in terms of DPS is probably going to be some Raiden hyper bullshit, but like in terms of how much value she brings to a team and how she feels to play, in my opinion, her best comp is Taser with like Kokomi Kazuha official.
Yeah, that comp is pretty nice to play. Mainly that comp runs like Beidou, but having Yai there instead, it's nice because you can focus more on like single target. And also, if you like Yai normals, you can just do them. over Kokomi when you're waiting if you fuck up on energy or something.
Bro, why did they make Yai normal so pretty and then make her an off-field unit?
Every
Just use
character
engine
has
with
that
her,
shit,
bro.
dude. Every character's like,
Dude, I was
So,
using Yai's normals yesterday, and I was like, this is so pretty. Why can't I use these more?
It is pretty. I don't know why.
and just use Bennett and Yunjin and Sara at the same time.
Yeah.
True.
You'll hit like a 20k auto.
I mean, Zhongli have
So
pretty
true.
auto, kind of.
Xiao has autos.
And then I think we wanted to bring this up as well, and I think this is probably towards the end of the Yai questions here. What do you think about our artifact sets? Right.
Wait, she has an artifact set.
Thematically, Shimenawa's, I suppose, is supposed to be like quote unquote her set, but I'm not sure there is a really good set for Yaya, like outstandingly
yeah.
that fits her thematic,
Yeah.
right? So we have Emblem of Severed Fate, which gives her ER that she likes, but only elemental burst damage, right?
Have you
And then,
not heard about 4-piece Petra?
Um,
Have you not heard of 4-piece
Sasuke.
Thundering Fury?
oh my god.
So yeah, and this will bridge into like our next topic. So don't talk about the new stuff yet, but like, yeah, how do we feel about like an artifact set? Is it nice to know that, or is it uncomforting to know that there might be like a more tailor fit set for her, or do you think like Shimenawa as an ESF is it? You focus on the elemental skill damage, or you only focus on the elemental burst damage, and that's how do you guys feel? Or do you just default to the regular 2 TF 2 glad?
So like, I'm in a pretty good position to talk about this because I did like talks for this. Like I did like 30 of them. You can kind of just run whatever the fuck you want as long as it will benefit. The 2-piece will benefit for you. For what I've seen, 2-piece, like the 2-piece ESF, TF, 8, any of the attack percent, like any combo of those is like the same shit, even when buffed. And it's like you can run 4 ESF if you want, but it's a little harder to farm to get good subs or whatever. But like it's with the whole investment thing, it's like it's annoying that there is no actual signature. There's nothing to aim for. And when you're potentially dumping a bunch of resin into, well, actually, this isn't specific to Yai. I guess specific for other characters. Say like you were farming, I don't know, Hu Tao, Crimson Witch, and you were farming like months for a good set, and then she gets a actual, real, legitimate signature set that's marginally or significantly better at like the same artifact sub like threshold. You're gonna feel annoyed that you just kind of wasted your time. With Yai, it's not that big of a problem because everyone kind of uses ESF, everyone kind of uses Shimenawa's. So it's like you can just throw those other characters. So it's not too bad. But it is annoying if you're like going in for like the waifu, like I want to gear out my character as much as possible. You dump a shit ton of resin and then you have to restart. It's just kind of annoying.
Does anyone else have an opinion on like artifact sets and characters being paired together really well?
Yeah, I think it's a good thing that she doesn't have a good artifact set, because like whether you realize it or not, like characters are balanced around the numbers they do. Like they choose the multipliers, the motion values of characters based on how much damage they want them to do.
Mm-hmm.
Which means if they balance Yai around no good artifact set, they're gonna reach the amount of damage they want her to do by giving her higher multipliers, and effectively you get the same damage, except you don't have to farm a specific set for her, and you can just farm for other units at the same time. And then on top of that, if they ever decide to release an artifact set for her, she's gonna get a buff.
Yeah.
I think from like recent artifacts, I think my favorite probably would have to be the Clam set, just because of how kind of different it is from the other sets. It offers like, it rewards you for building into a stat for like and you know, it provides something else that you wouldn't otherwise get. But yeah, I mean, This is a similar thing to Archaic Petra, I suppose, but less annoying to use. If we don't have any other strong opinions on this, we can move on to the next topic.
I just want to like talk a little about the Clam shit. I think Clam is really interesting because you actually want to change how your character just builds, because it might be better for a healer to optimize for the Clam damage rather than to go like some weird mixed hybrid thing. I think it's actually just pretty cool how it's integrated, like how you can. It's just a healing set, but you can actually change how your healers function. They can actually offer something to your team, like the pure healers, like Chi-Chi, Barbara, stuff like that. I think it's just cool. Those sets, like, they actually make you change and think about how you approach the game in terms of damage, compared to just, here's some numbers.
True. Although the Clam set like is it's a good set, but in my opinion, it's really bad for the game because.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like the problem that the Clam set fixes is that healing isn't very useful past a certain point. But the fact that they're fixing it with the Clam set instead of just making content where healing is useful, in my opinion, is really unfortunate. And the fact that they're giving us a set that does that probably indicates that they don't want to make content where healing is actually useful. And so I was like, when the set was announced, I was excited for it, but I was also really disappointed because, like, it's basically them locking in that they're not going to make content where healing is actually useful.
That's fair. I mean, I kind of agree with that, but I also think that you can kind of view it a little bit similarly to what you were talking about earlier with the like stat scaling of how like what was it? Wait, what are you even talking about? Shit, I forgot. Something about like how Yai's Ascension passive, how it makes EM useful. I think it's kind of similar to that, where you can just make healing useful. But yeah, I also do agree that it does mean that we're not going to get any kind of new content, and like content right now is pretty stale, and that's kind of disappointing.
I think too much of this type of thing though is definitely bad, right? I mean, could you imagine if there were more engulfing lightnings or something like that, where it converted like truly like the other stats that are kind of more useful or considered more useful into something more offensive?
Look,
I think I'm also in the same boat where like instead of designing content that like makes shielding kind of questionable or making like, you know, making healing useful, it's kind of hard. I mean, it's a hard thing to solve.
can you guys imagine?
I mean, obviously, like we can't have corrosion literally everywhere, so I don't know.
No, but I mean the fix is to stop having timers on fucking everything. That's the
True.
fix.
Can you guys imagine if they gave the best damage buffer in the game also a healing on top of it?
Wow.
No way.
Surely they wouldn't.
Surely.
never do
Surely not.
Clueless. Absolutely clueless.
Okay.
I feel like
So,
existence of Bennett so invalidate like the concept of healing, because why would you bring a healer when you can bring Bennett? It just makes no sense.
yeah, I mean,
Invalidate the game.
I don't think they'll ever make another Bent or another Shinker like ever again. Literally ever.
I mean, given that I think a lot of their recent releases have been generally quite balanced, I think like the last release that you can say is like exceptionally stronger was Raiden. Although wait, what even was the release schedule? It's like
Kazuha, Ayaka, Raiden, and then
yeah, starting from Eula, it would be Eula, Kazuha, and then what? It was like Ayaka,
Ayaka,
Yoimiya,
and
and
then
then Raiden, Kokomi.
Raiden. Yeah.
not too bad.
Yeah, I guess so.
I think you can make an argument for Kokomi as well.
I think you
but-
could as well. But I don't know. I think that Kokomi is more.
She's so goated. Oh my god.
Do you wanna?
Yeah.
We want to transition to the Kokomi topic then, because that was on our
I mean,
topic.
I think we
No,
could
no.
do
I want to talk
a general
about
topic.
Xiao. Then that's what I want to talk about.
Okay.
I mean, we could lump them together here and just say, how about the units that people think are significantly worse than they really are? And specifically, we'll start with Xiao here because he's getting a new artifact set and everything. And
Wait, how do you know
we
that?
just had that whole
Sasuke.
What do you mean? The artifact description was released and stuff.
Yeah, it was out.
Yeah. So I believe the calcs for this make it so that at good investment, like equal levels of substats, I guess.
You still have a
bonus
calc, right?
from this set would be like what 5 to 10% depending on buffs and stuff like that.
It's about like
Something that,
8,
yeah.
10%, yeah, roughly.
So, a lot of people are probably gonna wonder whether or not it's worth farming for. And the answer in general, as always, is it just usually depends, right? If you're probably pulling, I suppose, if the set works well with the other set that's going to be in the domain is the one that works with Ayato, and you pull
Echoes
Ayato
of
and have
offering,
Xiao, maybe you want to pull for it. I don't know. This set is very, very specific. Like, it is specific, like, more than almost any other artifact set, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
And the other one, I mean, like, Vermillion is just extremely specific, and then Echoes of an Offering is just like, I don't want to calc that. It might be pretty good on a couple of people,
We don't
but
need-
also I don't want to calc
They
it.
count
So,
they did the Monte Carlo simulation on it or whatever, and they found the percentage chance it will.
yeah, it's 35.1%. The issue is just
No,
for
it's-
units with deterministic, is it not 35.1?
Oh, sorry. I thought you were talking about the chance, but yeah,
Yeah,
the
no.
average damage
It-
on each attack is 35.1. The chance
Yeah.
of it to proc is like 50.
Wait, I have no idea
Yeah.
how that artifact set worked, to be honest.
Every
Okay,
time you
I'll
miss the
explain.
proc, it increases.
But what does a
You-
proc
You know
do?
what pseudo random crit is in like League Tenten? It works.
No,
like
what
that.
does a
Every
proc
time you-
do?
It
It
deals
just
more
with
damage.
70%.
Damage.
It adds 70% motion value to your normal attack hit.
It works
Oh.
like Red Hornstone Thresher, or actually does it? I forgot.
And it's a 35%
I haven't done math
chance
in
on
so long,
average.
oh God.
So it's about like a whatever that expected value is from 70%.
Yeah.
Yeah, the expected like damage percent proc that you gain is 35.1%, but it also does depend because like Yoimiya, for example, has a deterministic rotation. And especially with vape. Vape is where it matters because some of the procs have higher chances to have a proc on them than other ones, which means that if you have like 10 hits and they're all equivalent in damage, then it doesn't make a difference. It's always just going to be 35.1 if all your hits are equivalent. But units like Yoimiya, where she has vape, do not have equivalent multipliers on all of her damage, which means that 35.1% is not an accurate estimation of exactly how much
Oh,
damage
yeah.
it adds.
worth more on her N5
On her
than
N-
it is
yeah.
on her,
Yeah,
like, her
exactly.
N1, right? So
Well, it's worth more
Right,
whenever
so-
you vape. It's worth less whenever
Yeah,
you don't vape.
basically,
Actually.
also with Yoimiya, she had her N1 has 2 hits, and the reset internal cooldown for the Echoes of an Offering artifact set is 0.2 seconds. I think that's right. I might be wrong, but there's like a small internal cooldown, and I don't know how Yoimiya's attack speed, because like maybe normally she's able to proc she's able to proc both of them. She's able to reset on N1 and N2, but maybe if you have enough attack speed, she can't, or maybe she just can't normally at all. And it's just like, who's going to bother to test all these?
Bro.
Because you would have to like do a bunch of different chance-based things, and it's just this is just pain. I don't want to do it. I'm gonna ask someone else to do it.
JC sim time. Okay, that's like
No,
a
no,
multi-
even
the
GC
GC
sim
sim
would
could ever
work.
account for the projectile
it would-
hitting. Like,
Yeah.
how is the artifact damage calculated? Is it when the N1 and N2 hit, or you know?
Yeah,
things
no,
like that?
there's
so
a lot
much
of
variation.
The reason why I
in-
haven't talked about the artifact is because we don't actually know how it works. Is what I thought. So
Yeah, this one will probably require a lot of playtest. But to go back to like Xiao and stuff, like, yeah, the answer is okay. Well, do you already have a cracked out Xiao? Do you really want to farm for him again? If you don't really need to, then
it's
probably
not. Oh, I would think it's not worth farming for unless you're like one trick Xiao. Like if your name is Psyox.
The thing is, like, a lot of people already have good 2-piece combos, and it's like,
Yeah, now
Now
need
you're
a
trying to aim
four-piece.
for 4-piece. It's like,
Yeah.
well,
And the two piece
up to you.
you have is Shimenawa and Gladiator, which if you've been paying for a while, presumably those are really good because album set is
Uh,
the go-to domain to farm, and Gladiator you kind of get for free.
the thing that's funny though is that domain, both of the 2-piece, both the new artifacts, both their 2-piece sets are
Boom attack,
plus
right?
18%.
Yeah, so I was thinking like it
it's
might not
just
take that long.
funny. It's just funny that if you never farmed Xiao before, or you're not that invested, you can actually just go with a 2-piece whatever in that domain and just if you get a 4-piece, cool.
Yeah, otherwise just
use
two piece. Yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
thought too.
Yeah.
It's just really depend on like what you have right now, and not just what you have, but what you're planning on farming. Like, if you have to choose between farming Elmbom and gearing a Xiao at the same time, so only farming for Xiao, it's like, do you want to do that or no?
Yeah.
Yeah. That
I mean,
being
just
said,
like-
the Echoes artifact set is actually good on a surprising amount of unit. Like,
Razor Echoes.
I haven't looked at Razor, but like I
haven't
looked at
either.
Hu Tao. It's pretty good on Hu Tao. It's like it's not quite as good as
N1J Hu Tao.
but it's like it's better than like 2 Crimson Witch to 2 Wanderers. And
Yeah.
it's like
That's assuming you're doing N2 though, right?
yeah,
Not
that's
N1,
assuming
2.
you're doing N2. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, I guess that
Gaming.
makes sense.
Bad
Also,
chess.
can someone
And
can
it's
someone
also
check
pretty good
this?
on Child.
Mhm.
Can
And
some,
I think that's pretty neat.
Yeah,
can some,
I do think that like definitely Echoes could be quite good on a lot of people. It's just I don't want to have to calc it, so someone else will have
Some-
to figure that out.
okay, well, someone needs to write the checklist down where Azel talk about Razor. There you go.
Okay, yeah, Razor. There we go. There's your Razor for the day. And Tenten already mentioned Xiao Lady, and we were talking about Yai for the past like 30 minutes.
Uh-huh.
Okay, what else do we need to say? Art, you need to say you're the head of TC. Have you already said that?
No, I haven't. Besides that, I don't know if we have any other comments on it.
Yeah, I think the new artifact set is like it's good, but it's not that good at the same time. It's kind of weird. It's just really like depend. It's just a 30% attack increase, which is like a lot for Xiao, but it's also not a lot when you consider substat at the same time. So
Mhm.
I don't know. I personally would not farm it, but obviously I'm not a Xiao one trick.
Yeah, I mean, just like for reference for people, the Vermillion set is like 3 or 4 substats better than an equivalent, like
Two
two-piece, two-piece.
Yeah.
So if you think that you'll be able to farm enough so that you can have a Vermillion set that is like that much better, then sure, go ahead. But like for most people, they probably will not want to farm it unless they can make use of the other set. And not just make use. Personally, my take is you would only want to farm it if the other set, the Echoes of an Offering set, is like best in slot or second best in slot for the character that you want to use.
In terms of Resident Division, what I would probably end up suggesting is just farm Elmbom and farm Blizzard Strayer.
Yeah, that's honestly pretty true. Just farm
Like,
Emblem, farm Blizzard Strayer for most
if you
people's
like
best.
want to play Ayato, just use the XOD on Ayato.
Yeah,
I
I mean, we
also
can't
farm
say
VV.
that, but probably.
Also farm VV, but like
Yeah, that's true.
Like
Those three domains
your
are
resin, you're so much better off spending your resin over there, unless you really want a one trick and just make those like character really strong.
hmm
So that's it for the new artifact. Okay,
Tenten, why did you drown?
I swear there has not been a single stream where I don't drown. I don't know why, but like for some reason this is the
It's just because you're bad.
hey,
Drowned
bro.
so
Genshin is too
bad.
hard, man.
That's what Lost Ark does to your brain.
True.
I'm
Dude, I was playing Genshin the other day, and I kept on pressing G instead of F to interact with things. I was like, bro.
I keep playing League with people, and they keep telling me I thought my flash was on spacebar.
Oh my god.
True.
Okay, that's kind of true actually. Okay, anyway, move on. No more Lost Ark.
Let's talk
Yeah,
about.
really? I feel like you're about to log off this podcast and go play it, bro.
I already missed it. My guild boss for this podcast.
Dude, I haven't played Lost Ark in 26 days. Do I get back into it?
No, stop.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you for the advice, artisans.
What else do we want to talk about? Okay.
We talked
Yeah, I actually kind of
about.
want to talk about that.
Well, we should go in order, right? So like we have Kokomi and Raiden to talk about.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, we can do Kokomi,
Okay, so since
Raiden.
Kokomi's release,
Is
her
What-
perception has changed very, very much since then. Originally we thought we would say that she's very comfortable, that she is picked up. You can pick her up if you really want to, but she's not really a priority.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it's come out now that the value of that comfort is probably a lot more significant than we originally gave it credit for, right? The ability to trigger off-field hydro for a fairly long amount of time, the high amounts of healing. Yeah, in general, she's just very comfy. She's very tanky because you have to build HP on her. So yeah, what are we thinking about this?
I think just the thing about like AoE off-field hydro is just kind of nice. Like when you're not tied to just spamming normals or like you have to do everything within the Mona hydro window, it's pretty nice with freeze. There's a lot of leniency, and when you throw things like Drilling Tails or Tenacity and you just get basically almost 100% uptime on the attack bonus, and it's just nice to have. There's nothing to worry about in the gameplay wise. You just do it.
Yeah. I think Kokomi she just gives a lot of stuff. I think you can kind of compare her to Jean in that she is a role consolidator. She grants attacks buff with TTDS and Tenacity of the Millilith. She applies Hydro, which is useful for a lot of teams. Continuous AoE off-field Hydro, to be exact, which is very, very valuable. And she has healing. And just a lot of teams appreciate that.
So, and to compare her against, like, the other off-field Hydro, Mona, what would we say here? Anyone have an opinion on Kokomi these days? I'm particularly interested in, like, Tenten and Zajev, right?
I think it's whatever, to be honest. I mean, it's not that it's whatever, but I have a Kokomi and I don't really find need to run the Kokomi over Mona. That's not to say Kokomi is not good, but just to say like my Mona is enough to the point where I don't feel the need to pull out a Kokomi. Like
Okay, Tenten, but which teams do you play?
I played
Morgana
International.
You play literally only 2 team comps.
Yeah,
Do
but
you
that's the
play
thing.
The Kokomi Rosarian one?
You mean Shinra?
You mean
Tensei?
Shinra Tensei?
Oh
No.
my god, stop.
No, I think Kokomi is a fine unit, especially for people who either don't want to run Mona or don't have Mona. But my biggest problem with Kokomi is just like you can lose a 50-50 to Mona and get a Mona for free. Kind of, at least. And then you don't need to use a Kokomi. And that's like really the only thing.
If you want to, you can play Kokomi on field, which is actually pretty fun now with Clam. Like it's pretty good. And I actually asked someone to do calcs for me because I didn't want to do Clam calcs for 2 different teams. But a Kokomi with enough investment, like a lot of artifact subs, which is kind of hard because she kind of only has like 3 subs. But when you can get those on a Clam set, and if you're able to burst even off field, it is actually comparable to 4-piece Tenacity, like team buff wise. So if you really wanted to, you can farm 1 Ocean Huge Clam set and run that for both of her roles and just have a good unit all in one. Like you can play her in like 3 comps with the same gear.
Yeah,
But then what if you just went a 5-star weapon on your Ayaka?
you guys know what the thing is? Chat, especially. My first
Amazing.
5-star character in this game is Mona, and I lost the 50-50 on that banner, and it was the Venti banner. So,
Imagine
Wait,
losing the
stop.
50-50.
sad.
That if you gotta be clear here. A 5-star weapon on your Ayaka. You mean Jade Cutter, right?
Yes, totally.
It is absolutely fantastic. for-
But yeah,
Surely.
okay.
Man, okay. Just. I know this isn't the subject, but man, the Hyakunin Iki event had an Ayaka, and like you could only have one teammate with her, and so I experienced playing Ayaka without freeze, and holy fuck, did it no. God,
It feels
no.
terrible.
Well, we're gonna
It feels
talk about
so
Aka later,
bad.
right? Sasuke, because Aka is. Well, maybe we talk about
Oh
Aka next
my
podcast.
One of our very own theory crafting vice heads totally went run Jade Cutter Ayaka. Not calling out anyone here.
But yeah, so the thing I'm most fixated on is always like pull value. It's like how much money this character is worth, and given that you might be able to get a Mona, which worked just fine for not as expensive, it just made me kind of devalue Kokomi a little bit. But other than that, I think she's pretty good.
I think I would agree but like if you consider on field, the fact that you can just run like basically 2 other teams with her just playing on field, I think it's good enough.
No, yeah,
I think
I would pull Kokomi like over many of the characters nowadays. To be honest.
No, I mean like the whole
we-
Mona thing is that Mona isn't really played on field. She kind of only has one job, and it's to press Q and E and then swap off. But the fact that Kokomi lets you do something similar along with unlocking her own teams herself, I think is pretty good. Like what
Wait,
Hazel was talking
whoa.
about, consolidate money rolls into one.
Can we clarify like you? Can we clarify you cannot play Kokomi Shangling though? I mean you can, but I would.
You can, it's just
What do you
annoying.
mean?
You can,
What
but
do you mean?
like
you literally made a video. You literally made a video about it.
okay, not Sukokomon. I mean like Babe Shang.
I mean, that's it's the Kokomon. You can run
Okay,
better
you
on
can
a different
shit.
team. It's
Just run.
Alright,
Just run
fine.
Kokomi, Bennett, Xiaoling, Xinqiu.
I was
you can run
mostly
Bennett on your other team.
I was mostly referring to
real
the
though.
fact that you cannot use Kokomi as a child substitution.
For real though, so we touched on it a little bit earlier. Zajev did, but Kazuha Kokomi is such a good fucking. That's such a good pair, honestly. It really is such a good pair.
Dude,
Wait, really? Why?
I mean, Kokomi,
I mean,
you put her thing down, and then Kazuha, you bring them all in there and chilling.
It's not really Kazuha Kokomi, it's Kazuha Electro Charge.
Kazuha, Kokomi, Fischl,
Oh.
Venti, kind of base.
And like when you have like in order to have Kazuha Electro Charge, you need at least one Electro unit, but you really often want to play 2 Electro units, which means you only have 1 slot for a Hydro unit, and since there's no Electro healer, if you need a healer, Kokomi is really valuable in there.
Yeah, that's what Kokomi is
Should
really
chill on
really
the
good
other
for
team, too.
actually. That's like that's
Mhm.
is the scenario where Kokomi is like extremely good because there's like you're a healer and you're a hydro and you get a lot of hydro, so and you get TTDS poggers.
She's really comfy, honestly. Like just just plop down the jellyfish and do whatever you want. It's pretty. It's not optimal, but I mean, like, would I pull her if I had like a gene or something? Probably not. I don't think so.
Yeah, like-
I think there really is some value to her.
I mean, for like if I was like recommending it to a new player, I mean specifically.
mhm.
But
Yeah, but I do like Abyss team recommendations every once in a while where like people send me their current roster and I try to help them figure out the best teams they can do with it.
mhm.
And like something that I've noticed is it happens relatively often that people just don't really have a way to make a good freeze team because they need Singto on their other team.
Yeah, exactly.
And so Kokomi is actually a pretty solid unit to go for.
Mona Sasuke.
Yeah.
Where's the Mona?
Well, sometimes they have Mona, but they need a healer, and they just don't have that.
Mhm.
Like, let's say, for example, they don't have a gene, and their freeze team is Kaya Rosaria, Sucrose, or something. And then in that case, it's just like, well, who do you put as a Hydro healer? You put Kokomi.
Yeah, no, I can agree. For it's like
how you
it
at
pretty much
chest.
comes down to like if I were to look back for my account, I would not pull for Kokomi. Even if I didn't have Mona, I would just like wait for Mona to drop probably because I don't want to spend the money on that. Like for me.
Hey, I've been playing this game for like a year and a half. Right? I'm still waiting for my Mona.
Do you actually? Oh my god, how many people is waiting for
Yeah,
a
he
Mona?
still doesn't have a Mona.
I'm literally Mona-less, maidenless.
Bro, don't worry. Free 5-star on the 2nd anniversary.
Copium.
Copium.
Free 5-star Kokomi.
I don't know. It just like my main priority is always just not spending money on things that are like not particularly needed. So for me,
I think for some accounts, it's pretty valuable. She's very. Honestly, building teams with her is so much easier.
well,
Like, if you need
correct.
on both sides, like
Yeah,
if you don't, if you have like Xiao on the other side, having specifically Kokomi is a very nice comfort.
yeah. The
Probably
actually
a lot better than Venti.
look at it just now again. What I would probably actually do for me is let's assume I don't have Mona on the first Kokomi banner. I'll probably skip to see if I get a Mona of 50-50, but then if I still don't have a Mona by the second Kokomi banner, which is the Korean one, I'll probably just roll for Kokomi and call it a day. Which actually mean I would roll for Kokomi if I didn't have Mona today. Now that I look at it, so yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I mean, I
So,
think we've covered everything about Kokomi, right? She is actually quite good. Like,
Dude.
if you think that you could have a use for her.
Did we ever
Probably.
talk about Shenhe?
We didn't.
Wait,
did
I
we?
think we did.
I think we
we
did on
did.
a previous
That's what I'm
podcast.
saying,
But also,
that's
it's
what
been
I'm
so
saying. I feel
long, I
like-
don't remember.
I feel like there was a podcast in between this one and the Akashot one where we did talk about Shenhe.
I
There
thought we
was
talked about Ayaka versus Ganyu. Wasn't that the
Ayaka versus Ganyu podcast.
We're missing one.
Oh,
Nice.
let me look at Spotify.
Okay, it might be on Spotify, but not on Tenten channel. Some.
No,
Yeah,
we
no, I
have
think
to
we just
have
might
it.
not have talked about her.
Okay. Okay.
No, we did talk about Shenhe.
Oh wait, no,
Do
no,
we
we talked
wanna
about
try about
Shenhe. It was like Tenten calling me, and then we just talked about it or something. It was
No,
like,
we did talk
alright,
about
yeah.
Shenhe. There's no way. What? Did we not
Wait,
talk
I,
about?
think it was on I think it was randomly on a stream
Yeah.
and not on the. Okay, you know what? Why don't we just talk about Shenhe real quick?
No, we did talk about Shenhe for sure. There's no way we didn't. Really?
No, Tenten. This was when I was like talking to you on stream and trying to convince you to put Shenhe at like 2.5 or something. Remember?
Did we not? talk
Oh,
about...
I remember that.
When did
I
Shenhe
remember
come
that.
out? Before Yaimiko?
Before
Yeah.
Ganyu.
before
Before Ganyu,
the
yeah.
standard, Tenten.
We had. Did we not talk about Shenhe? No, we for
This
sure
is what-
did.
This is what tier 3 wrestling does. for men.
Surely we talked about her.
No, we 100%
This
did.
is
Move
what,
on.
This is what Lost Ark does to you.
Move on. We talked about. I'm pretty sure we did. Check the VOD.
Okay. Anyways, who did we talk about now? Raiden.
Okay. I mean, we can brush up on Shenhe. I mean, we can quickly do what we would say for.
We could at least.
Yeah, we'll do what we did for Yai, right? So, does anyone have any like outstanding thoughts on her? Like something, something super out there you think that might be controversial?
She's the third
I think-
Kaya Arizona.
I think the general impression of Shenhe actually is that she's quite good.
Yeah, she's pretty
That the quills are a very appreciable and very noticeable amount of damage, and that she, does her role very well. She just buffs cryo. Any thoughts from anyone?
You just say that because she allows you to do 50k on your Kaya E's.
I mean, it's like you basically take like a Rosaria-ish thing, and then you make it a 5-star and more damage. And more
5-star
numbers. It's like,
Rosaria.
you make a good 4-star unit, a 5-star unit, and better. It's like okay,
Mhm.
it's
I
not.
don't
You
know
can't.
if
You
I agree
literally,
with it just being better. The
I mean,
20-second rotations are not
Yeah.
something I like, but
it for most it's like she won't be bad. Like it's just not, and she doesn't really deter much from other like the other cryo sub DPS or whatever you want to call them now. Like she's just all right.
I think that's
You get a good
that's my
upgrade.
biggest question, right? So, for cryo units, right? The most outstanding cryo units. I brought this up previously. Do they need Shenhe? Right. What kind of account wants a Shenhe other than
I
an
can one
account that
shot.
wants to do more crowd damage?
Dude, that's a.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Is my reasoning here like wrong? Is my way of
Yeah,
thinking
no,
wrong?
that's-
prepping it, right?
fine. I think
Yeah.
I think the kind of account that wants Shenhe is an account that basically already has all the other tools on their cryo team. Shenhe is like the least important of the tools.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm, Yep.
Because
Like-
you can replace her with Kaya or Rosaria,
Yep.
and
Yeah,
you'll see a
without losing
decrease in
that
damage, but it's not much.
So if I remember
Like,
correctly,
you'll...
go for it.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just. If I remember correctly, the way I see Shenhe is just she's a good unit, balanced unit. It's just she's not required. So she's a rare case where her power strength is good, but her value is not very high just because like replacement exists.
Mhm.
I
Like,
think if she created more cryo energy, like in general, I think she'd be a very, very, very
oh yeah, that's true.
robust unit. But in general, that's my kind of thought on it. Like for like general recommendations for the Abyss, we don't typically recommend running a DPS like Chongyun, right? Or specifically like, I don't know, Kaya main DPS or like Rosario main DPS, right? And this isn't really where we tell people to super invest their characters unless, you know, we're really big fans of Freeze and, you know, and they don't have Ganyu and Ayaka, right? So the question I've always really had about Shenhe is like, yeah, she's good for cryo units, but you know, the premier cryo units that we recommend for people to pull, do they really need a Shenhe?
Yeah, like I think that like if you have a cryo unit, you want to make a cryo unit your carry. You want to make them better by pulling units that synergize with it, right? Your first off, you're pulling the cryo unit. Then you're probably pulling a Kazuha. Then maybe you're pulling something like a Kokomi. And then you could go for a Shenhe, but like you'd get a bigger damage increase out of pulling for a 5-star weapon for your cryo carry. And then Shenhe would be the next best option. Which, in my opinion, isn't something that most free-to-play players are gonna see. And so I think of Shenhe more as a like good dolphin option than a good free-to-play option.
Uh-huh.
That is definitely true, yeah. I think that's a good evaluation for her. But yeah, I think that generally we've basically covered her. Like, if you're like a huge whale, I guess, roll for Shenhe. She's probably going to help you out. But if you're a free-to-play, you have better options. And the thing that Tenten said, it's like pull value different from
Yeah,
power
I think
level.
Shenhe is like the extreme example where pull value and power value are completely different.
Yeah.
And she might be good in terms of power, but she's not really worth pulling because of what we just described. There are better things to pull.
Exactly.
And then another question I had was, how do you feel about a unit like Shenhe, right? So this is a 5-star unit who is very niche, very targeted in their you know, like their purpose of cryo, right? How do you feel about a unit like Shenhe? Do you think that MiHoYo should keep releasing units like this, or do you think that they should find more creative ways to make I don't know, units different?
I think it's fucking great. Like, sure,
Yeah.
it'd be nice if every single unit was like different in a meaningful way, but realistically, that's just not how they're gonna make the most money. So they're just never gonna actually do that. And if they are gonna do things that favor people that spend money on like each 5-star with units, like niche units that synergize well together, I'd rather they do it with units like Shenhe that are just very well balanced all around than by just power creeping current supports.
Yeah, I actually agree with that. Like, for meta, again, for pure meta reason, like you probably wouldn't roll for Shenhe. But if you want a Shenhe, just pull it. Like, she's good. At the end, that's it. So like, yeah, it's not like this is kind of going back to Yamiko. It's like if you pull Yamiko, you might feel bad after because of some of her gameplay issue, like her EEE. But if you pull for Shenhe, you probably wouldn't feel bad at all. So
If you pull her, you'll probably find a way to use her as long as you play some kind of freeze team.
yeah, but that's her. That's like a given. Like before you pull her, you should probably have like a crowd character that can use it, right? But after you pull her, yeah, you're gonna use her. She'll be good. Like Pog.
Okay, so then how do we feel about Shenhe, like just as a unit in a vacuum, right? So for me specifically, the things I'm looking at is she literally just wants attack percentage, pretty cheap to build. ER and attack percentage is kind of like what she wants in general. And then yeah, so she's cheap to build and
Her best
her
weapon
overall
is a
kit is pretty
4-star.
nice. Yeah.
And Calamity does not feel good.
I'm 100%.
Calamity is so terrible.
We 100% did talk about Shenhe on the podcast because we said her best weapon is 4-star, not a 5 stars.
Okay, well, I wasn't on the Ayaka podcast, so
It was not
obviously
even-
we're missing
Was I?
something.
No, it was not on the Ayaka podcast. Someone pull out the ball, dude.
Dude, there's a
The only
missing
thing I remember
podcast.
about the Ayaka
There's either a missing
podcast-
podcast or we never talked about it. Okay.
No, there is one missing podcast that's uploaded to my channel. It has like 500 views.
The Among
But
Us podcast, bro.
yeah, I think that's the one where Tenten was. Actually, I don't remember. I think it's on my channel, but like no
What?
one's seen it, so yeah.
Okay, well, after
Wow.
this we'll have Tenten added to the playlist.
Free ad for Azo channel.
And then I
Why
don't know if
harder?
I have any other questions about Shenhe. So
Yeah,
I
I
guess
don't
we
think
can
there's
move
really
on.
much.
Raiden?
Raiden now. So this is the Raiden rerun.
Mhm.
The Electro Archon makes another return, or makes a return, I should say. And how do we feel? The last time she came out, there was a large controversy over her interaction with Beidou, for example. And yeah, and I think most people consider her to be. I think the general population considers to be very good. That allows you to play her with anyone, quote unquote, because she just gives everyone energy.
I think I'm still fucking angry about the interaction. I still consider it to be actual fucking fraud. I don't know how they got away with it, but I guess consumer protection agencies don't care about gacha games.
Match is what you mean.
Yeah, but she's definitely like she's a good unit, and I think her biggest upside is how easy how easy she is to play, especially in teams like Rational. Like she's just so easy to play.
Right,
It's really hard to mess up.
Mhm.
The fact that we did combo analysis on her and just figured out that just spamming charge attacks is also just fucking good. It's just funny. It's so funny. It's just like you don't even need to learn any combo. You just
Or you
mash
can
it.
just normal attacks. Like you don't have to charge attack at all if you don't want to. You just spam left click and honestly it just
No. You gotta try hard and do 3N, 3C.
3N, 3C, and 2C, pew pew. No, like you can actually do whatever you want when you burst on Raiden, and it's probably like good. Like you can normal attack all the way, or you can charge attack all the way, or you can just do some like fucking weird try 100 IQ combo and 3C and 2C, like whatever. It's like it's all they all work.
Okay. Then my question would be how much do you recommend Raiden right now? Right. So this is a fairly popular question. How good is Raiden compared to the other meta options and what you can pull for, right? In terms of team building, strength, all that good stuff.
I can go for it. I think Raiden is a good position. I don't think she's a super high priority, which a lot of people seems to think so. But I think she's up there mostly because of the fact that she's very good for boss fight, which has been in the recent abyss. So the way I see her is like she's a tech option against boss fight. Is like the character that you whip out. You just whip out the rational team whenever you need to fight bosses. She helped a lot in say Vagabond, for example, just because how high her team have for single target damage. But I don't think she's like particularly like high up in terms of the priority when we consider stuff like Ayaka or even like Kazuha Venti. That's what my thing is.
So you put her below Ayaka, Kazuha, Venti?
Yeah, somewhere like a little bit lower. Yeah.
I think if you're in a position where freeze is like doesn't work, she's pretty good. like pretty freaking good. But if you can use freeze, it's like, well, you basically don't like need her. You can run whatever you want. That's like, because it's she shares a lot of overlap with a lot of popular teams, like other popular teams before she came out, except for freeze. Freeze, you just couldn't do anything about. Like you had to run those units, and when she came out, she didn't really fix any of those things either. So it's like if you have a freeze team and you have another team that just functions well without her, then you don't really need her. But like when freeze can't work, like bait bosses or just the energy is like annoying, then you just mash buttons and you clear also.
I mean, you can freeze
Pretty good.
bosses, right? So like that's where you put.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like if in like when you mention like bosses, like if you can't freeze them, then it's fine.
How do you know Tenten?
No, what? Like you can't freeze bosses?
You can't. Yeah.
Well, wait, can you? Wait, what? Of course you can. Wait.
Have you tried hard enough?
Have you not frozen Magu Kenki before, Tenten?
Bruh. But yeah,
I've seen a Magu Kenki that has a lot of
freeze
cryo on
bosses
it, bro.
all the time. I freeze bosses all the time. The trick is to just have a shitty graphics card. And
Wait,
bosses
you guys-
freeze all the time.
You guys haven't seen a Magu Kenki that just has a bunch of cryo everywhere, bro? I remember getting frozen by that motherfucker all the time.
Oh my god. Oh
no, no,
my god.
Okay.
I think
Oh, someone did find the podcast, the Shenhe podcast.
I
Apparently we
see.
did talk about her.
We did.
Someone says there's number 8. Someone says there's number 8.
It was number 8, yeah.
So
It's not the podcast with
I-
Akasha where Tenten forgot who Confucius is.
I
Grows up literally in Hong Kong, doesn't know where
okay, shut up. I think Raiden is kind of overestimated by a lot of people just because she's easy to use. The thing is like, yeah, Rational is pretty good, but like you can play National without Raiden for sure. So it's not like particularly important.
Yeah, but Hyper Raiden teams are also.
The thing is,
Hyper
yeah,
Raiden
there's
is
several
so
Hyper Raiden.
goated.
Mm.
I think you underestimate Raiden.
Really?
Mm.
Yes. I mean, I fucking hate Raiden. I hate playing her. I think she feels like shit to play. And when I play her, I can't play international, which makes me fucking mad. But like, she's still. I think you underestimate her still.
Okay. So is she on your list of recommend, but I personally don't like, or
Oh,
is
for
there
sure.
like a particular,
Raiden
is
is
there
one
a
of the.
particular account? Is there like any conditions to pulling Raiden or anything like that?
I think if you have child and you learn the international rotations, like sure, pulling Raiden will like improve your matchup against single target, and if you have a Kazuha, you can also get some like specific AoE as well, where like it can be better. But like realistically, Raiden's not that much of an improvement on your account. You're better off going for something that's going to strengthen your second team. But if you don't have child, I think Raiden is almost always just a pretty solid pull.
Yeah.
But would you pull for Xiao over Raiden? Sasuke. That's a thing for me. That's the thing for me.
I would pull for Child over Raiden, but
Yeah.
I think that's because I think Child's gameplay is like really fun, and I value the AoE more than the single target.
No, that's really the big thing for me. It's like I would pull for Xiao over Raiden, and then I wouldn't pull for Raiden because I have Xiao. That's the biggest
I would
thing.
pull
for
for
me.
Raiden.
I personally
I would pull
actually
for Raiden.
don't like Child at all, so I'd pull for Raiden. But
I would also vote for Raiden just because like you can just throw her anywhere, bro. What like
all right, it's a
It's a two to three actually.
like
2 to
it was-
3.
Because
Yeah,
like, it's
there's-
actually
there's-
unbelievably funny. It is actually unbelievably funny where Raiden, a lot of teams were like, you just like, oh yeah, you can just throw Raiden in here and she might just do more damage than your other units because you've invested more into her and just kind of
Yeah, I mean that's just what happened with Xiao then, right? Like literally, you just
yes.
throw
I mean,
Raiden on
Eula
Xiao's
too.
team, and it's not bad.
Eula too. It's like
Yeah.
you like Eula had it already, like she already had like a couple teams like down, and then like, hey, what if we just use Raiden just basically dual carry? Oh wait, it's better.
Mhm.
It's just
Yeah.
funny that she just exists. She can just exist on so many teams just for fun. It's like
It does have to be clarified though that these specific dual carry teams like Xiao Raiden or Eula Raiden both of your carries have to be pretty well invested. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't work.
Yeah, I also
doesn't
want
work
to
if you're
clarify
throwing,
that
like, your
generally the
shitter-
case with generally the case with these dual carry teams is you're just better off running Hyper Raiden than actually playing dual carry. Like
It's just-
literally, I
it's
did
just
the calc
interesting,
on this yesterday. Like the Xiaodan rotation with Xiao, Raiden, Bennett, Zhongli. If you actually use Xiao's full burst and you use Raiden's full burst, it is only like 7% better than just literally using Xiao as a Viridescent Venom or support, casting his burst, and then swapping off just so that you can use the 70 energy for resolve. And that's not, and like exact same team. Like you're using Zhongli, Bennett, Xiao with Raiden. If you replace Zhongli with Sara, it's even better. But like, it's just like, I don't know. I've never liked those kinds of dual carry teams because I've always thought that just using Hyper Raiden is a more efficient allocation of units. I understand that if you really want to play Xiao, if you really want to play Eula, then yes, you can like play those teams.
I think
but
it should be emphasized again, like specifically, like if you want to play Xiao or you want to play Eula or like other energy starved people, Raiden is. She ends up being a pretty good pick because she just doesn't have damage to eat up the extra field time she takes.
yeah,
Mhm.
I see it similar.
just
Oh, yeah,
funny.
yeah.
It's just funny.
Yeah.
No, I would say
I'm-
Raiden is pretty good. It's not like super OP broken that you have to pull, which I feel like is more common than like saying she's just good. Like I think she's good, but not the oh my god most broken character that a lot of people seem to think.
Yeah. Zodja, what were you saying?
Yes, where are you coming? He lost his
Zodja
spot.
is gone.
He lost his spot. Oh
No, Zodja is dead. But I do think like it is. I don't know. I view it kind of similarly to if you want to use Bennett as a support for Pyro units. Like, if you want to use Bennett as a support for Diluc, if you want to use Bennett as a support for Yan Fei, if you want to use Bennett as a support for Xin Yan, why are you doing that instead of just playing Bennett carry? Like, you're better off just literally playing Bennett carry. And that's the case with Raiden teams as well, I feel. It's like, why would you use Raiden as a support / dual carry when you can just play Hyper Raiden and probably outperform?
It's funny. That's the big thing. It is actually funny.
Huh.
Mhm.
So I think that wraps up our thoughts on Raiden. I know Zajev had something, but
Zajev?
we kept interrupting him.
no! Saju?
Mm, I forgot.
What?
You would
Oh
forgo.
yeah, oh yeah. I don't like Xiao Raiden because I think that Xiao's biggest strength is the way he consolidates AoE. But if you're like if half of your team's damage is coming from someone who isn't Xiao, then like you kind of just lose that strength. Like why play that at that point? But I do think Ellie Raiden is actually pretty solid.
Mm.
Right, like
That's fair.
it's a Raiden team that doesn't actually require Bennett or Xingqiu. It makes use of units that you don't really want to play on your other teams with Diona and Lisa. I think overall it's a pretty strong team.
Mhm.
Gaming. Okay. What else did we have to catch up on, guys? Is there anything else on our? Is it Venti?
Venti?
This is his
I
like
think
what?
Venti's
Is this his
now.
third rerun?
Third banner, yeah.
It's
Oh, okay. So I mean, the topic we talked about this before, and the general consensus is that yeah, he's a really strong unit when you can use him, but recently, and even now recently, the Abyss has not been too kind to Venti, right?
That's true.
So the question here is, how much do you value the situations where Venti is just going to be incomparable to everyone else, or would you be willing to just settle for a unit like quote unquote settle for someone that can kind of group but kind of fulfills very similar or fulfills a very strong niche that is very competitive with Venti's, right? So that would be Kazuha.
Fullville
I
Venti.
think I've been saying this for a while, just not on the podcast, I don't think, but I think Venti is really good if you need to get to 12. Like, if you're already at the point where you can clear bis 12 and it doesn't matter, it's like you pull him if you want. Like, if you already reached that point in the game where you don't need him anymore, sure. But a lot of us, we had Venti at the beginning and we just kind of breezed through the game. You didn't, like, if you didn't have Venti before, you were actually kind of crippled because every single type of content was multi-wave, big shit ton of trash mobs. And if you had Venti, you would clear the content yourself and you'd cheat your way through 12.
Yep.
Which is good. It is pretty good because you get more materials because you can clear the 9 through 12, which change every twice every month. But like, if you don't need that, then don't really need Venti. I don't think. But if you're like struggling in the early game and you don't know what the fuck to do and you just want to like cheat your way to the end game, I think Venti is pretty good. Most of the time, 11 is also shit mobs, like trash mobs. But it can also just be sometimes like right now I think it's like recently it was Hydro Mimics and it's just like he doesn't do anything there. It's like, well, but
No, I mean,
getting up to
Kazuha didn't do shit there either.
Yeah. But like getting up to 9 to 12 is actually good. Even if you can't 36 star, just to clear for the materials is pretty good. And Venti lets you do that easier than any other unit, in my opinion. Just because he lets you cheat the other floors.
Zajaf and Tenten, do you guys have any new thoughts about this? I believe we've talked about this multiple times by now.
I've talked about it too many fucking. I can't talk about it again.
Just watch Ask Sacha
I have
on
a video
Venti.
on it coming out soon. Check it out. I'm not explaining again.
Me too. Except I'll explain it.
Dude, I made like an AMA for Venti.
Watch Sacha.
Like 300 to 400 questions, and like
half of them
200 to 300 of that was just Venti or Kazuha, and I'm just so fucking tired of talking about Venti.
Okay.
I'll answer the question. Just pull both.
Venti or Kazuha?
Fuck off.
Just pull both.
Hypothetically speaking, Klee is right next to you, and she's holding a present for you, and you have to pick one. Which one do you pick, Zajaf?
Too close.
I think a lot of people forget like Venti. Venti is infamous for its like black hole, which doesn't work in recent Abyss. But I think there's like a lot of things people are forgetting. First of all, he's an Anemo unit, which can still use PV, and he refund you 15 energy, which is actually still really good for free steam. But two is like, yeah, a lot of the enemy are bless you. A lot of the bless you.
Bless you.
A lot of the enemy are currently unsuckable in the game, but like, and surely we don't know that they're gonna make suckable enemy in the futures. But at the same time, that also means that we don't know if they won't make suckable enemy in the future, right? So there's what?
I can't really talk too much about sus things, but
I mean, no, I'm just saying, like, okay, they're making, we can't guarantee, like, we can't guarantee they're only gonna do heavy enemy in the futures. And the way I see Venti right now is the same actually as I see Raiden, as like a tech. Because what I mentioned, like, the way I see Raiden is like a tech for like boss fight. And so Venti is like a tech for like mobbing floor. And I value those tech actually a lot. And it's the reason why I think Raiden is like pretty good. It's like when you need them, they're so good that like if you have spare primo, you should pull for it. If you have spare primo, you should probably pull for Raiden National just for the boss fight. If you have spare primo, you should probably pull for Venti just for the mobbing. It's what I think.
If we're just talking about overworld stuff?
No, Abyss.
Or do we have any other subject after Venti?
I do not believe so.
This guy's about to go sleep.
I believe that
I'm
if you
exhausted.
have to go. Yeah, if you have to go,
Yeah,
feel free.
I just want to go
we'll
veg, man.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and
Veg.
close up here. Thank you everyone for joining us for the
Wait, we close
podcast
already.
today. I know it's been a while. We're all fairly busy nowadays, so it's hard to see.
Very
Closing
busy.
remarks really quick.
We just started about time.
I'm from KQM, and yeah, Azel. We can just go down from the Discord list and
My
go
closing remarks is Yai sucks.
ahead. Okay. Tenten.
Wait, are we closing? Are we actually closing? I mean, we can just make such a. We can just like.
We're gonna do a Q&A after this. We're just trying to get Zadif out of here.
No, but he can just leave. We can just continue because I don't think we're done with Venti.
That's fine. We can just do it after. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I need to do it for the recording.
Okay, Zadif, do you have anything to say before you leave?
Check out my newest video. It's Fever Dream about some upcoming things. Or by the time this comes out, my newest video might be the Venti AMA. So check that out on Zajef77 on YouTube. Okay, good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Zidja.
Bye.
Okay.
I forgot what I was gonna say.
For the rest of us, we can quickly go through.
Dude, this
Ayaka,
podcast gotta
and
be
we'll
so
just-
scuffed, man. People watching this from YouTube probably like, this is so scuffed, man.
Dude, it's whatever.
And then we'll immediately jump into Q&A after Ayaka, right?
Well, I don't think we're. I mean, I guess you guys have no fault in Venti. I feel like we just started on it.
I mean,
I mean-
there's nothing really to say, right? There's the same stuff. It's they're both very strong. They can both be used in different situations. Kazuha and Venti, the units I'm referring to here. No, I mean we talked about it extensively before. It just depends on your account and what you want it for.
Mhm.
I think for me personally though, it's like if you have zero interest in like waifus or husbandos in this game and you're just pulling for power, just get Venti, man. Like quite literally, just get him.
Get both actually.
Just get
That's the
both.
correct
Well,
answer.
it's the real answer.
Yeah, actually get both. Like get both
I'll-
Kazuha and Venti.
I would just
Even if
get
you don't
both.
like them or existence, they're like if you have zero care about any of the characters or the art in the game or you just want gameplay and how good their kit is, get both.
Yeah, I would just get both. Like literally. Like I know people are like just get both forehead moment, but it's actually true. Like just get both.
They are probably two of some of the most important characters. in
So
the game.
the real answer is like actually like save primo and pull on rerun. Like they're that important, I guess. I know a lot of people like might see Venti differently for the moment, but it is actually like that important.
So, I mean, there's not really much to say about Venti. I mean, Zadric's gonna have a video out on it. Tenten's gonna have a video on it. Check those out later when they're out.
Bruh.
The final topic is Ayaka, right? This will be her first rerun since her first run, I think, was in July, right? So,
Wait, Ayaka's on the next banner?
Ayaka
I
is
have no idea.
to
on.
Venti and then Ayaka alone.
Yep.
okay.
I see.
So, Ayaka. Yeah, she's coming back. The
Paul.
one who slew Ganyu, right? The cryo unit to rule them all. Or so I'm led to believe by people. We talked about this extensively before as well. Where we talked about this kind of growing rift between Ganyu and Ayaka players. And in the end, I believe our conclusion was that
Just for which
They're
one you really
both-
like.
very, very strong cryo units, and it doesn't really particularly matter which one you pick. They kind of do the same thing, but in different ways.
Yeah.
It's all matchups.
It's his matchup.
But
Just put both forehead.
I think the biggest thing is that with Ayaka returning, it means Misflitter returning. Misflitter is so fucking stupid of a weapon, though. Even on characters that can't use the third stack, oh my, it's still dumb.
I wonder what they'll
left
put
the
on the
game.
Misfetter banner. Sasuke.
The most I guess because the standard weapons, right? We have Aquila and Wolf Gravestone. If it's Wolf's Gravestone,
If it's Wolf
and-
Greystones, oh god.
oh
It's a
my god,
GG
that
go
banner.
next. Sorry, boys.
This
Okay.
splitter is the best weapon in the game.
I
until
mean, but
now.
yeah,
Does anyone have
Actually, no,
any
sorry, TTDS is the
additional-
best.
I think like if you didn't pull a Ganyu banner, pull Ayaka for sure. In fact, I would actually value Ayaka to be one of the highest priority. For that's what I would say. Think at least like if you don't have Ganyu, I would think Ayaka is one of the highest priority to pull for. I think having a crowd unit is pretty important. Every single abyss is just freeze plus excel.
You just say freeze plus excel.
Said the funny character.
Look, I didn't want to say the word, okay?
I think for me, I personally don't really like Ayaka that much. I also don't really play with my Ganyu that much either anymore.
You don't even play much anymore, is what you mean.
No, I
Yeah.
actually use my Kaya more than my Ganyu because it's just easier.
Oh, really? I mean,
Yeah.
No, Art literally just doesn't play the game. Didn't you get
Ayaka-
Reunion?
Ayaka's pretty weird, actually, because Ayaka's pretty elemental burst dependent.
Yeah, that's why I don't particularly like Ayaka. I mean, it's not like a real complaint. Like, you build enough ER, you build crit damage, you get a Mist Splitter or an Amenoma Kageuchi, and like it's solved. Like there's that. It's just that for Ayaka. That's probably why I don't like her too much. You miss her burst, she does literally nothing. Also, I just don't like her sprint. That's it. That's probably
That's
it.
fair.
Unless you're doing Ayaka normals on purpose, she's kind of just a two button kit. Like actually, though.
Yeah, I'm not really a big fan of her charge attack or normals. Yeah, and I just don't think she's very special in terms of any super synergies or anything. She just kind of does a fuckload of damage, and she's cute. Like that's it.
She's very much like a 1.0 character that just has better numbers than 1.0 character.
No, she is a 1.0 character.
Well, yeah,
yeah,
if
literally.
Sasuke.
like compared to like units like Kuching Diluc, like the quote unquote DPS at the beginning, she's quite literally the same thing, but she has better numbers than they do.
Yeah, she has way better number. Like to be honest, like if you can, it's not realistic to one shot with the Luke, but I think when you're strong enough, it's pretty realistic to one shot with Ayaka. And when you can like group the enemies together and just pop them using Ayaka burst, oh god, it feels so good. But
oh, that's also funny. Like because Ayaka has front loaded burst damage, almost every single person who pulled Ayaka and has a 5-star sword can basically be a speedrunner.
yeah, that's the thing. It's like when your Ayaka is strong, it's really good. Probably one of the best in the game, and it's realistically achievable by a lot of people.
No, and I mean like my complaint is just if you have Ganyu already, or if you're comparing the two, like in comparable situations, like obviously Ganyu's not going to excel at single target, and Ayaka's not going to excel when enemies are too far spread apart, right? But assuming like in a general sense, they do like the same thing. They'll just do enough damage to kill whatever they're hitting, right?
And it'd be flying.
You're at high levels of investment. They just have enough damage to just overkill literally everything in the game, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, if you really want to play freeze on both sides, yeah, you can pull both.
Shinra
You just kind of
Tensei.
need a lot of units because what you'll probably want to do is you'll probably want to do like Ganyu, Venti, Mona, Diona on one side, and then Ayaka, Rosaria, Kokomi, Kazuha. And that's just a lot of 5 stars.
It is a lot of 5 stars, and you don't get to play Xiangling, so kind of ways. Or
Yeah, that sounds like the freest composition.
Okay, Tenten.
Dude, why do you... But yeah.
I
Why did
mean,
you
both
want
of these
10
characters
seconds?
are fairly expensive, I would say. I think Ayaka is a little cheaper because you can just slap Xingqiu on her and call it a day, but
Well,
yeah.
okay, I'm about to say it, but like,
No.
but if you just slap Xingqiu on Ayaka, then you don't get to use Xingqiu with your Xiangling, so...
Oh my. Well, yeah, Ayaka is just
your
more.
chat literally preemptively said again before you even said it.
I mean, yeah, I mean, she is cheaper. Cause she just needs Hydro. She just needs a Nemo. While Ganyu, you need a specific type of Hydro or Nemo.
I mean, yeah.
But yeah, like
Ganyu is unplayable with
that's kind of
Xingqiu's.
Yeah.
or
I mean, my take on it is like at the very low investment, Ganyu is better because her solo output is better than Ayaka's. At mid-tier investment, then you get to the point where Ayaka will start outcompeting Ganyu because you have the ability to put together synergistic teams for Ayaka. And at extremely high investment,
They're the
then
same.
you can kind of say it's a toss-up.
Yeah.
If it's against mobbing content, of course, just Morgana is broken. If it's against single target freezable content, like Ayaka is amazing. So yeah, it depends.
I think they're pretty. It's pretty close. Yeah. Just. Well, I mean, the Ganyu banner is already gone, so if you don't have Ganyu, like just for Ayaka, for meta.
Like, honestly, though, like, yeah, I'm just gonna say this, like, honestly, you probably should not be listening to this podcast as a reason to pull for a character. You should rather be using it to inform your pulls, because, like, here's the thing: every account is different. The artifacts that you have, it depends. The supports you have, the whatever you have, they all depend. If you have a Mist Splitter and you don't have Amos, of course Ayaka's gonna be better. Like, what we say on this podcast should always only aim to guide your decisions. You shouldn't ever take them as final, just because we try to make generalized claims, but your account is not general. Your account is specific. So, yeah.
Morgana no Mono.
I mean, it's very, very clearly, like, it's very obvious to people who have theory crafted for quite a while that the general Genshin population has almost no idea how to build teams, like, at all.
Bro,
Most people, I imagine, probably look up a YouTube video and then just slap together whatever it is. That probably don't even know how to play it correctly, quote unquote correctly, right? But yeah, I mean, I would imagine that a lot of players are probably like kind of in the 1.0 thought where, like, okay, you have Diluc, you get to win the game. I think a lot of people probably would say the same thing about Ayaka or Ganyu, right? Like, if you have these two, you just win the game. But in general, like, team building is a very complicated thing. It requires a lot of catching up to do because we're like a year and a half into the game and there's so much knowledge you need to pick up, right? So it's really up to theory crafters to be able to communicate it properly.
The amount of people who I see just slam 5-star into the 4 character slot and call it a team is too many.
Dude, there's some YouTuber that does like there's some YouTubers that do like quest guides on YouTube, like for Genshin, and it's just like every team or most teams are just like Diluc, Ganyu, Jean, Xiao, or some shit. It's all 5-star like DPS units, or like, and then like a healer.
Speaking of which, I've been seeing Neps and Azel tweet about Genshin Lab. Oh god,
dude, Nep and I have just been tweeting out like terrible Genshin guides on the internet. It's so funny.
Yeah, what did I run into? Also, yeah, oh god, I ran into a Kokomi quest. But yeah, Azo and Nep have been tweeting out like terrible Genshin team guy, and I've been seeing those, and I've been just be like, oh my goodness, there's no way. The amount of people was
Did you see elemental mastery increases your elemental burst?
Oh,
and
I've been purposely not looking at those so that I can like do a react Andy one day on stream, which is like, I don't know.
So funny, god.
But yeah, I don't know.
Do you know Amber can be pretty useful with a 5-star bow? Eligible. What does Shinyan have? What can Shinyan do?
Shinyan, she has 100%. If you have C2, she has 100% proc rate on Fav GS. Infinite energy, bro.
True. Who cares about the damage? It's just for the
crit, the 100% crit, dude. BZ.
True.
Okay. I think that wraps it up for Ayaka. I mean, is there anything else we missed? I mean, I don't think so.
This podcast is so scuffed, man.
What else is coming next patch? We have a free Shincho. Get him, please. Do him.
I mean,
get him.
Yeah, even if you have cons, all his cons are good, basically. Nearly all of them.
I have C6. What now?
Now you get free wish.
5 free.
Roll Venti. Any truers?
Okay, what if I have Venti too?
You roll Ayaka the next banner.
Okay.
Ayato. Sasuke.
Okay. That wraps up everything for real this time. Again, it's been a pleasure to kind of host the podcast once again. I'm Artisans. I am from KQM. a big theory crafting community for the Western Genshin audience. A lot of the guides, a lot of the sentiments, probably almost everything about theory crafting these days is probably tangentially related to KQM one way or the other. Yeah.
I thought you were
go ahead,
typing
say your
this
outros, guys.
podcast is sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends Tenten.
No.
Stop! You can't say that. Then you can't say that without someone.
Yeah,
paying
that's free ads. You can't say that.
Yeah,
No,
bro,
stop.
what?
Wait, you
Scamming
gave them a
us.
free shout out just now.
Okay, Azel, a closing statement. Anything?
I already said yes.
Anything you want to shout out?
Okay, no. My actual closing statement though is theory crafting. Well, actually, I think I kind of already talked about this, but like, I definitely already talked about this like 5 minutes ago. But theory crafting should only ever like be a means to an end for you. I think people too frequently look at theory crafting and think that gives them all the answers, whereas theory crafting can't give you all the answers because we can't know your specific circumstances. Like, what is best for you is to look at theory crafting, figure out like the lessons that you need to learn from it. Like maybe you don't need to learn like the exact rotation for everything, but you should probably learn, if I am playing a freeze team, it would be good to swirl in this order so that I can get buff uptime on my units or something like that. You should only ever use the information that we produce as a guideline for your own accounts. You shouldn't ever follow it strictly just because like there's no information that we give that can be 100% localized to your specific circumstance. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I can already see the
Basically, don't listen to theory
Statement.
crafters. We're dumb.
I can already see the chatting in the comment, dude. But like, but I definitely had to do that as well. Say that as well. It's like everyone's situation is gonna be different. If something work out for you, that's great. But just know that like at the same time, like something we say doesn't, or you don't mind. Let's say we say like, oh, this character have this problem, but if you don't mind it, then sure, go for it. At the end of the day, everyone's situation is different. If something work out for you, doesn't mean it work out for someone else. But at the same time, if something doesn't work for someone else, doesn't mean it won't work out for you. I think that's the most common mistake. It's like, oh, this thing doesn't work for you, so you assume this one doesn't work for everyone else, but that's not necessarily true. So everyone have different situation. The best thing to do is to not let anything be an end all be all, but rather just take like them as like recommendation and then make your own judgment on what to actually do. I know like that's actually like I'm not trying to like throw shade, but that's actually like it's pretty hard like to know like exactly what to do. But learning on how to like make your own decision is really, really valuable. So I think.
Yep.
Only if it's the right decision, though, and the right decision is
True.
always
Channeling.
found in KQM.
Oh.
Rude.
Based. Okay. Do you have anything to shout out, Tenten, real quick as well? Like a new video, anything?
I mean, if you're watching this,
Sound like-
you're probably on this channel already. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
Bruh.
No.
Dude.
And XF3. Anything else to end out on a good note? Anything?
Dude, Wizith is an actual piece of shit weapon.
What? Wait, why?
I've been
No, to
I've
count,
been
to
doing
calculate.
I've been doing Yai stuff and whatever. Yai guys coming whatever. I don't know. I'm tired. I'm dying of schoolwork. But Wizith is actually the dumbest piece of shit in the game. If you use Wizith, you're poor. Don't care.
Bro, have you
use
seen our
Wizith on
Will
Yai
Smith
before.
emote? Yo, show him our Will Smith emote.
I saw your Will Smith emote. I fucking died of laughter for like 40 minutes.
Bruh. Okay. And that will be the end of the podcast. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Say bye. Alright,
Bye bye.
Bye.
Troll this.